I believe that the key to being successful is discounting your own point of view. We go through the world believing that everybody sees the world as we see it, and I learn this every day, how my customers, different people see things completely differently.
So right now, white coding means AI now writes the code junior developers used to cut their teeth on. If the entry level of the ladder disappears, where do the next senior engineers come from?
Don't be a tool. If you're a problem solver, people will hire you. If you're a tool, you literally have no cards on your hand.
Every system has a choke point, a bottleneck, and AI is moving the bottleneck. Be looking for the bottleneck and figure out what you can do to solve it.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Today is a first for the show. We don't have one guest, we have two, the CEO and the CTO of the same company sitting in the same room, which means for the next half hour, we get both halves of a startup's brain. Lamatic AI is a Fort Lauderdale company building what might be the most in-demand thing in software right now, a fully managed platform for building, deploying, and monitoring AI agents. They launched in October 2024 out of the Levant Center of Innovation. Since then, over 1,500 AI founders and builders on the platform, selected for TechCrunch Disrupt Startup Battlefield 200, and almost unheard of in AI, they broke even within a year on less than $1 million raised. Chuck Whiteman is the CEO. Michigan native, MBA from Michigan Ross, spent years as an executive at MotionPoint, the company that translates the world's biggest websites through to its sale, and helped inaugurate the Miami chapter of the Gen AI Collective. Aman Sharma is the CTO. He built his first web studio while still in college in India, did machine learning research at TU Vienna, co-founded and exited the SaaS company Twimbit, and has been recognized among India's top CTOs. He also came through as entrepreneur first in Singapore. And here's the part I love the most. They met on Y Combinator's co-founder matching platform while trying to build an app that answers the question, what's for dinner? And somewhere along the way decided the plumbing underneath was the real business. Let's welcome Chuck and Aman to the Honest WorkStudio podcast. I first have to thank Dr. Coach for making sure that you came here and I was able to connect with you. And so for our audience, this is the CEO of Lamatic AI and this is the CTO of Lamatic AI. And this is the first for this show wherein we have two guests at the same time. And very excited to talk, as you can see.
Innovation, that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Take it easy, man. You're doing great.
Yeah. A little bit too excited, as always, and I get into the flow as time progresses. That's how it happens. But
you want a beer too?
No, I'm good. All right. So every company on earth tells you that culture starts with the founders. Before we talk about AI at all, we want to understand how a corporate executive from Michigan and a serial founder from India ended up building a company together. So both of you met on Y Combinator's co-founder matching platform, which is essentially a dating app for founders, right? What did you see in the other person's profile that made you say yes? And what was your honest first impression on the first call?
Damn, I didn't knew that he did all the digging.
That's right. Where did you find this information?
And everything on that. Yes, it's all public, yeah.
All right. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
All right. Yeah. So I was on Y Combinator, had a business idea. It was a B2C AI-powered application that we won't get into what that was all about, but Aman had a really interesting background building AI in kind of the food and hospitality space. And so I said yes to the interview. He'll tell you where he was when he took the interview. I was sitting in my office, and it was probably my 20 or 25th, interview on Y Combinator Founder Match. And I can tell you the first 24 were all interesting, but they weren't a match. As soon as I started talking to Aman, we just saw things similarly. I was very impressed with the depth of knowledge and the depth of the questions that he was asking. Like, it was like third order questions, not first order questions. So
Yeah, I think like he kind of nailed it, right? So I was in Singapore at that time, and I had just like exited my last company, Twimbit. So and I was just like exploring like what to do next, right? And I was like, basically island hopping in different parts of Asia Pacific. So I was in Bali, I think, when I interviewed Chuck, or he interviewed me. I don't know which way it goes. And lucky for me, it wasn't my 25th but 700th interview. So I was like interviewing a lot of founders at that time, like grilling them through that. I literally, believe it or not, had like a founder CRM, which I still have, with all the emails of all the founders that ever want to do, because I was like, I'm gonna take my time to figure out what do I do next. So I was just like casually chilling. So literally, co-founder dating was my full day routine. That's all I was doing. And same thing, like it wasn't anything like unique or special about the idea. Like a lot of people like kind of go about the idea and start like kind of judging other persons on the reception of the idea or how good the idea is. But I don't think a startup or a company is about the idea at all. It's about the people. It's about the team. And honestly, my first impression of Chuck wasn't like he was trying to like impress me or he was trying to buy me in, which is usually the course of actions when you are trying to do co-founder dating. You're trying to like impress so much. You're trying to like buy them in, which is really a false example that you're setting, because this is the person you're going to spend like at least next 10 or 20 years building a business with. So you want to start with like the red flags first, right? So we were like pretty direct, and we were not like shy away about the red flags. Like, obviously people look at us, and the first question it kind of gets into is like the dynamics that we would have, right? Like I'm more young, Chuck is a veteran in building a startup, right? But we, instead of seeing that as cons, we sort of see this as like edge fit, right? How do those things complement? So where I'm like more like fast paced executionist, Chuck is more sort of long vision and long term thinker, and all that. Like when I am more like sprinting, he's like running a marathon, right? So it kind of complements both of those things out.
So especially from your answer, I think I understand that he's the techie over here, building a CRM just to get the founders. That's a great idea. I think I can use it for my job search.
For sure.
So, okay, different generations, different continents, right? When you two disagree on something big, what actually happens? Who wins in the both of you? And how do you come to the conclusion?
I mean, we get into a ring and we fight till death. Like, I'm just kidding. Like, no. So, I mean, Chuck is more pragmatic about it. I'm more sort of like, hey, let's get this thing done right now. I'm very impatient with the process. Like, I just want to get started right now. But over the years, what I have understood, like, and Chuck can go more deeper into it, like, is to like really detach. A lot of people take building a startup very personally. I mean, you want to have personal grit, but at the end of the day, you don't want like your emotion or your personal ego to get in between of that, right? At the end of the day, you have to understand like the other person is trying to, even if it is disagreement, but that disagreement is a critical, like constructive criticism, right? And you're trying to like both get to the same objective. So I really like, how Chuck is more like kind of settle down, and he would bring back what the main objective is. He wouldn't let us distract and go in the rabbit hole of why we did that and all that.
How do you do it? How do you become so grounded while you are having those discussions?
Well, I think Aman put his finger on it. It's you're both after the same thing, which is success. And what success looks like, there's probably a lot of different formulations. So step one, assume positive intent. Nobody's like out to get the other person. Second is to take advantage, like we are different people, and so we look at things differently. And I think that 360-degree view of the problem is actually helpful if you can get over like the not invented here problem. So I think that's really the challenge, is just seeing each other's peers, understanding that the goal is to solve the problem, and then going from there.
Okay. So we do something on this show wherein we ask guests to explain their work to everyone, but in under 90 seconds. So today we get to run it twice, once for the technology and once for the business side of things. So Aman, you're up first.
Okay.
A small business owner watching this wants an AI agent. Say one that answers customers' emails using their own data. In 90 seconds, what does Lamatic actually do for them end to end from idea to running the agent?
Yeah, I don't think there's like a direct collaboration consumer use that we are currently focused on. But let's say if this business is trying to like turn their expertise into an agentic vertical integrated software, that's where Lamatic comes in. So we are sort of thinking 5 or 10 years from now, like how companies like Shopify and WordPress became the backbone of internet companies, right? They became the operating system of running these internet companies. So what we are doing is we are building the operating system for these companies who will be building agentic businesses in the future, right? So for example, that sales company you talked about, whatever it is, like maybe the founder is a 20 years veteran and there is like a great, amazing way that he writes the cold email, which gets the most amount of success. He can turn that into an agentic system, sell that as a software, and that operating system runs on Lamatic.
Right. Now the business version. Same thing, same clock. There are free open source tools, LangChain, N8N, and Diffie. Why does a company pay Lamatic $99 or $1,000 per month instead of having their developers wire it up themselves?
That's a great question. And I think that the answer is, as the business guy, I always go to my customers. And my customers typically respond to me and say, I don't have the people in-house that have the skills to wire up this infrastructure that's required to make this thing perform, be secure, give me a reliable answer every time, same inputs, you give me the same outputs. I don't have the people in-house, the expertise to build the plumbing. For me to recruit the people would be super expensive. And once they built it, it would not be a full-time job. Like I would lose those people. And this infrastructure continues to evolve. So building it myself, if I'm just parroting back what customers say to me, doesn't make any sense. That's the plumbing part. And then on top of that, you got to build the agents that deliver the use cases. And that's all about what Aman said, which is extracting the subject matter expertise and turning it into an agentic system.
Right.
And they don't have the people in-house to do that either. What they like about Lamatic is it is built as a product-led product, a do-it-yourself. So they really find interesting the fact that we don't really aspire to be a services company. We'll help them get to version 1. And then our goal is to train them up so they can continue to maintain whatever it is, version 1.1 and beyond. Right. And also start building other agentic solutions. And I'm probably over my 90 seconds, but
it's all right.
I'm going to filibuster. So when I got out of university, my first job was with Accenture. Before it was Accenture, it was called Anderson Consulting, and it was early 90s. And my job was process reengineering. It was basically taking a new technology, which was computers, and reimagining business processes. And it took a long time. I mean, early 90s is not when the computer was invented, but it took a long, long time for big companies to integrate, computerize their business processes. Well, today, the technology is a little bit different, but the process is exactly the same. It's going to take a long time for companies to reimagine all the things that they do using AI. And I think it's going to go a lot faster, right, just because of the age we're in. But that's the problem really is reimagining the process, and that takes the subject matter expert to do. Technology people, and Aman says a lot, often uses the example of coding as an example of why AI has been adopted really, really quickly by Cursor, Windsurf, these other tools in industry to streamline the process of building code. And why is that? Well, it's because the technology and the subject matter experts are one and the same. Yeah. So it has gone really quickly. That isn't true of other industries that we're serving.
Like, why don't we have like QuickBooks, Cursor for QuickBooks?
Okay.
Right? Why don't we have Cursor for Shopify? So the problem is because the technology or the underlying iteration environment, the IDE, is not built for that level of iteration. So the type of customers we are working with is we imagine that there could be a Cursor for QuickBooks.
Okay.
Right. So we kind of combine the non-agentic or non-AI experts and combine them with our applied AI teams if they are opting for the service layer,
right,
or they just use a platform to build those things easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I want to bring you down towards where I am currently right now and where the entire university is in right now.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, we are at Florida Atlantic University,
Yes.
which is the university that I have graduated from.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about AI, jobs, and the students in this university. This podcast exists to ask questions about AI and society on behalf of students and early career researchers. So right now, vibe coding means AI now writes the code junior developments used to cut their teeth on. If the entry level of the ladder disappears, where do the next senior engineers come from? What do you honestly tell a CS student graduating this year?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, like when the vibe coding kind of started, right? Like everybody was worried about that. Like, the overall application development and software as we know it would be completely replaced and agents would do it. But you can see that the dust settled down and like the vibe coding is like that was just a hype and that has brought back down, right? Now people are just using vibe coding to build prototypes or landing pages. And that's like one of the top jobs is like vibe fixer. It's like somebody fixing AI slop and make it productionally usable like in an application. And I'm not saying this like I'm being a grandpa and I told you so and I'm still waiting for and I think that future does exist where agents would build complete software, but it's not there yet. It's like a continuum, right? Like it's not really a technology problem. It's more of a culture problem, like organization culture problem,
Right.
like because you will always lose some essence of what you wanted to build in the words you used to prompt the LLMs, and that's where but I actually wanted it that way, I wanted that way. But the ingenuity of working with humans is that we can anticipate problems. Like we just need a context on a high level what problem we are trying to solve, and then we don't need to be told with every single prompt or iterations like this is how it should be done. And in fact, like that randomness of human ingenuity is what actually gives us so many creative solutions, and
Right.
not all solutions look same.
Right.
But if you look at like the things that AI is generating, everything looks same, and humans hate those things, right?
Yes.
So I think my notion is that like what AI is doing is not replace that entry level job, but make that entry level job a little bit more high. What used to take me, like for example, like what took me like literally last 5 to 6 years in becoming like a really good infrastructure or architect guy wasn't right the sleepless code that I was writing, right? Code didn't got me there.
Right.
It's like the iteration of those systems.
Okay.
Right. So the sooner I get up off that like abstraction layer of
Right.
coding and converting my thought into code,
Right.
the sooner I can get to a more higher level substance of like making applications more resilient, of making application more practical for the business users. So that's what's happening right now. So when people say programming is largely a solved problem, I don't think it's the vibe coding or the AI slop that we are talking about.
Right.
It's about that for an engineer that was just 1x becomes 10x now. Right. And that person can like focus on more higher level infrastructure, system level things.
Right.
And the same thing for like students that are kind of coming in. And I think it's a great thing because I remember in my time as well, students used to grind their time in like building LeetCode scores.
Yes.
And like going to hacker rank and
Yes.
like building all these things.
Yes.
And all of that was like useless because nobody is going to ask you to build a bubble sort or binary tree. Chuck has never asked me to build a binary tree like algorithm. I have to just come up with solutions when I feel like the solution is right for that, right? So you have to be more of a system person.
Right.
So I think students have a great opportunity right now to like focus more on the problems and focus on like integration of these systems together instead of building these systems themselves.
And what would you tell to a business graduate?
Oh, I would say every system has a choke point, a bottleneck. And AI is moving the bottleneck, but there's now another bottleneck. And so I think what I would say to anyone, business school or otherwise, is be looking for the bottleneck and figure out what you can do to solve it. I mean, I think AI is no different than the invention of the combine tractor on the farm. Like the bottleneck was how many kids can you have to work, how many acres do you have, and then automation changed the bottleneck, and so we all survived, which I think we will continue to survive. But we do need to be conscious of where's the choke point.
Right. So I have two questions. Something that just came up in my mind. One question is, let's say AI agents and all of this AI thing becomes the normal in the industry. What's going to be next according to you guys?
It's very hard to predict. Like the problem is like human have tendency that we think in quantization, but the nature happens in continuum.
Okay.
Right? Like we think that okay, tomorrow we will wake up and our job would be gone, but it doesn't happen. Right? Even when electricity came, it didn't came to like the whole US at the same time.
Right.
It came to like one city, then
Right.
one country, then one continent, and it just like spread like that. And it takes time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing is happening with AI on a more like kind of layer level, right? Right now it's going to some functions, customer support and all that, maybe payroll, like all these like menial job. I mean, who like aspires to come to a college, pay so much tuition to like do paperwork sitting at a desk, right? Nobody wants to do that, right? So it inherently is itself not a good work. This is I feel like it's like artificially created work, right? Which was because of internet economy, because we need people who can put things in the system,
Yes.
right? And what agents are doing is like they are replacing that input process, like they are sensors to the real world, right? Which is converting all these laborious process into more sort of digital information. That's how I kind of think about it.
Okay.
And I feel like once that stage comes, when we are completely autonomous, like everything would happen on the speed of thought, right? So it would basically become like who has the best ideas, not like who has the best stick to implement that idea, right? Like so I think that's gonna happen not instantly. It would happen at one function at a time, then one vertical at a time, and then soon it would have the layer. Same thing that just happened with internet as well, right? It wasn't like it swept all businesses, but one layer at a time, and now everything is like ubiquitous with internet, right? Yeah.
I think from your answer, going back to the startup phases of the business, I think one of the sentence will always stand as that it's the execution, not the idea, while you're building a startup. And even with AI agents, it's still going to be the execution of the idea,
exactly,
more than the
and also like I think doing entrepreneurship is nothing but being the first to do it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna become a norm. Like for example, somebody thinking, "Hey, let me build an internet website today." It's like stupid, right? Like, but the person who thought about doing it 20 years ago is the billionaire today, right? So it's always about like taking those bets, and those bets always pay off, either in form of like actual becoming rich or having some learning that you can transfer it to something. But you gotta be like a leader in like seeing what happens, even if it is correct or incorrect. You cannot predict what's the next wave is gonna be, but you just need to have like a hunch, right? And then just like act on it, and then just like go to the next hunch if that doesn't work out. So it's also the humility to understand that I was wrong and being able to move on. So another fun fact, like the app idea that me and Chuck met on, right? We pivoted from that 6 months after building that. And then Lamatic is basically the outcome of that pivot. Like that app was called Dinnerfy. It was an app to help you figure out what to have for dinner. Right. So, but like we had to kept our ego aside, right? Like it's my idea or all that. I obviously worked and spent sleepless night on it. Chuck spent 2 years building the draft pitch, going through so much of conversation. But you should be willing to like see like what's the bigger picture, what's the bigger opportunity here, instead of being stuck with the past.
It's a good lesson for someone who's learning detachment.
Yeah.
So, a while ago, sir, you were talking about second degree questions and third degree questions. Could you please expand on that?
Sure. Yeah, although I do want to just tack on to the question you just asked, which was what's next? And so I agree with what Aman said, which is have a hunch, bet on it, but be loosely attached to it, and open to new information. I would say the hunch I have is based on what AI is doing. AI is creating answers that the bottleneck used to be our human understanding and our ability to assimilate data. And once that bottleneck goes away, then the question is, well, what's the new bottleneck? And the new bottleneck is translating that into the physical world, which is why a lot of people are talking about robotics. And I believe that transmission of answer to the physical world is next, and then that'll be old, and then it'll be something else. And I think that kind of segues back into your second order, third order question, which is maybe you can see robotics is next, but then what's the second order after that? And what's the third order after that? There's a lot of, drop a pebble in a pond and there's ripples that end up in places you couldn't have imagined. And that's what, back to the, my impression after speaking with Aman is he was able to see a few moves ahead, the difference between chess and checkers, I think.
Got it. So this is going to be the last question. We are running out of time. But I want you to take your time with this one. So everyone in the audience are students and researchers and early career builders, okay? And they're trying to figure out where they fit in this AI economy. One piece of advice each from the both of you, and it cannot be that you need to learn to use AI. What would you actually tell them to do in the next 5 years?
Don't be a tool.
Okay.
Because I think like the same thing which we were talking about, like, when you are trying to ace competitive programming and all that, you're trying to be a tool.
Right.
You gotta be a problem solver.
Right.
And if you're a problem solver, people will hire you for just like high level business possibility of something and all that. And that's a much better opportunity to be in. If you're a tool, you literally have no cards on your hand, right? If that idea succeeds, maybe you will be having a better chance. If that doesn't succeed, you don't have any control over that, right? And I think it was Naval Ravikant that actually came up with this idea, like how much of engineering is just wasted because people think that would be cool to build that, and so much of engineering hours is wasted in building it. If somebody could just question if that is even needed. Right. If you're a tool, you would never get to that second order question of what's the even use of that. So I feel like a lot of good entrepreneurs are really good problem. Basically, they ask really good second degree questions, not just first degree. They're not just interested in making a quick buck, but how do they solve this problem for generations to come? Right. And then like make money out of it. Right. So don't be a tool.
Great advice.
Yeah.
So just say the question again so I make sure I actually answer it.
So what do early career builders and students and researchers do for the next 5 years? And your answer cannot be learn to use AI.
Okay. So I believe that the key to being successful is discounting your own point of view. We go through the world believing that everybody sees the world as we see it. And I learn this every day, how my customers, different people see things completely differently. And if you're trying to be an entrepreneur and build something, you can't be building for yourself and your point of view. You really need to sit with, the customer who you hope to serve and understand what the world looks like from where they sit. Like that, I think, is the key lever.
That's a business answer. Who is a perfect candidate for your company?
It's the same thing. Like, I don't look at skills of people. Obviously, like there has to be like some surface level skills that proves and differentiates you from like, I mean, I don't know, Chuck doesn't have exposure to this, but like there are thousands of people that apply at working at Lamatic, right? And then we are just like a 14 people team right now. So it's impossible to look at every candidate. And I feel sometimes bad, right? So we're looking at like something differentiable. So you don't want to be like the average or something. So the thing that I describe is to be a T-shaped developer.
Okay.
Right. What is basically like something about everything so that you have a context and a meta level understanding about different concept in engineering, and then basically like if this problem comes, I can use this tool to solve that problem.
Okay.
But you still like the height in the T is basically the depth in one single domain.
Right.
So whether you are like really good at understanding networking, DevOps, AI, machine learning, something that you're very specifically focused on.
And what could the things consist of in that horizontal?
High level, I think if you're an engineer applying for a SaaS company, that's like application development, like full stack, how applications are deployed, CI/CD, security a little bit and all that. I think there is like a website called as roadmap.sh where you can like basically see all the skills required. You should have a meta level understanding of everything as an engineer. I'm like, I know people say like that's not a really good answer, but unfortunately that's the bar, because if you don't have a meta level understanding, and you are relying on like Claude or an AI to answer that for you, you basically are like not even looking at all the possibility of solutions to solve that problem.
Right.
And then obviously your solution would be not optimal.
Right.
And then like the depth is like something that you're really passionate about, right? Like that's not really something you learn for a skill. That's like you crazily were passionate about. Like for example, I didn't learn LLM or NLP, which was the previous generation of LLM. We are calling it LLM now. So I was just like passionate about it. I always love word tokenizers, how you can like change natural language into bits and pieces that is like stored. And like even without having like an internship or like a job requirement, I was just like learning this for nothing. Like people were like, why you are like crazy doing all this? But now it's paying off, right? So you, like that's just like luck that comes through you. But you gotta be passionate about something. And then I don't like really look at like skills of people like that, oh, you need to be an ace coder or anything. I'm looking at like the ability of a person to adapt. Right? Because if you are like, hey, you told me to do this and oh, I can't do this because of this, then like you are literally, that's the definition of a tool. But if you can adapt, you can become a Swiss Army knife, you can change your shape, you can morph based on like what the circumstances. I'm not worried. Right. Startups don't die because of what is that term?
They don't die of starvation. They die of overeating.
Yes. So basically, like every company wants to do everything because like I have this person, I told them to do this for the last 2 months, and now I can't quit on them. So everybody's like kept on doing that. But if you're adaptable, I can move you somewhere else, and then I can do resource optimization very well.
Right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time out to just have this conversation. It means a lot to me and the team as well. I hope we have you soon again on the podcast. Next time, maybe a little bit more time because
getting paid.